Welcome to, well, it's not the first week of the month because I did the other thing last week, but welcome to the Path series. Alright, now the main reason I started the Path series was to give you an introduction into various different traditions and paths and things like that. Really just an introduction, but giving a little bit of background, some history, some principles, ideologies and things like that, with a recommendation of further reading that you can do if you're interested. Right, so it's about trying to educate you on all of these various different paths and stuff. But one thing that we do need to talk about, and it's not a nice topic, I don't like talking about it myself, but is this, especially on this channel, because a lot of people who are on this channel are pursuing some form of what they may call a left-hand path practice, whether that be non-theistic or atheistic Satanism, or theistic Satanism, demonolatry, whatever it may be. We have this ideology or this idea of a left-hand path that many people are following, and when it comes to this this left-hand path specifically, there are a lot of difficulties that you're going to face, you're going to come across, and one of them is the inclusion of neo-Nazi ideologies, and it is rife throughout the left-hand path. This is something that infiltrated heathenry, and it has become a huge problem. And it's also done it with the left-hand path. It's just the people who follow that path, the left-hand path itself. And this is very specifically, well, not specifically, but you do find this more within something like theistic Satanism. It's just, people following that kind of path. I don't know how or why. It's just one of those things that they found so much easier to actually infiltrate and kind of take over the groups and all such things. One of them, which I've mentioned in the past, is the Joy of Satan. I'm actually going to share my screen for a bit because there's a couple of things I actually need to show you. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through an exploration of this together. I obviously need to be careful of things like copyright. Back in 2006, I did save some things off the internet, which were specific to a group that I'm going to talk about quite extensively. But obviously, even though the site has disappeared, it's been gone for a long time, I might still, venture into some copyright issues and things like that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to share things on the screen, and what I can find, which is on the internet currently, is public knowledge. It's available to the public, therefore I cannot find myself in any kind of such battles as those. Alright, so I'm going to share my screen. Alright, so this first one, yeah, I know it's a Wikipedia page, but it's got the information I need for this specific thing anyway. But I mean, if you want to go explore this further, you're quite welcome to. Joy of Satan Ministry. So I actually spoke about Joy of Satan website myself in the past, several years ago. Almost 10 years ago. I actually found this site to be incredibly useful for what I was doing at the time. Had no idea about the inclusion of Nazism and all such things within the website, within the ideologies of this person who created Joy of Satan Ministries. But just something to watch out for. This Maxine Dietrich, or whose name is Andrea M. Dietrich. So just watch out for that name. It includes all sorts of conspiracy theories, extraterrestrial beliefs similar to those popularized by Zecharia Sitchin and David Icke, or Icke. But they have been the topic of significant controversy for their anti-Semitic beliefs and a connection to a former chairman of the National Socialist Movement, an American neo-Nazi organization. Alright, so we have that. Then we have the main site regarding an order called or an organization called Order of the Nine Angles. I see this was still available in 2024, but it's gone now. I did go and have a look for the site, and it's definitely gone. Anyway, so let me just check. You can actually see everything in here. Sorry, let me just widen the screen over here. And we'll get you all in. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's a bit big. Hold on. There we go. I've got everything in, I think. There we go. Alright then. So, let me just go down. Yeah, okay. Alright, so I'm going to go right back to the beginning, because I did go and check out the Wayback Machine on this particular site before doing this, and there's some pages that have been removed because they violated Tripod's terms and conditions. So I'm going to go right back to the very, very first snapshot of this website. As you can see, this is on the internet. Nothing nefarious. I'm not pulling anything out that you cannot find yourself. This might take a while, just give it a chance. There we go. All right. Still loading. Alright, so this is a website that popped up in, as I said, 2005. Not quite the first snapshot by the looks of it, but close enough. A mirror of the official ONA website. Okay, so what I want to point out here is not just, you can go through this whole thing if you want to, but this specifically, Guides to Sacrifice. One thing I learned when I was reading through all of this stuff back in 2006 was that what they would do is, skip me forward to 2007 for some reason. So I had to go to a different date there. Alright, anyway, get back to what I was talking about. So they did this thing called culling, and this is where, what they do is they pick a victim, somebody who they feel is dross, who's not worthy of being within our human race, our society, because they consider themselves, this person, to be a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of breath, and therefore, they're going to, they pick this person out, and they give this person 3 unexpected tests. So these tests would be something like, they would get a man and a woman from one of the covens, and they would set up this public thing that would happen where they would kind of like, the man would start beating on the woman or something like that in front of this victim, this person. And if the person came to the woman's rescue, he was considered to be, okay, he passed the test, right? So he's good. If he ran away, then he failed the test. They would do this 3 times. So they would give the person at least a chance. If he fails all 3 tests, then he is sacrificed. And there's a whole process they would go through for the sacrifice. But as I said, there's some pages which are missing on this website, I believe. But here we go. Culling a guide to sacrifice 2. So it goes through, the whole definition of what they consider to be a sacrifice. They discuss what they call opfers, which are the people they have chosen for the culling. And they give an example: a young man of weak character spends his time stealing cars and committing petty crimes. He lives on social security benefit, blah, blah, etc., etc. You can go through all this yourself. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this trash, but it's all here anyway. I'm just trying to make sure I've got the right page here for the actual culling itself. Let's just try another page quick. This is guidelines for testing the opfers. Sorry, this site does take a while to load. Alright, Alright, so this is where they discuss the test itself. For example, the victim is male and to undertake the test, 4 members will be required, to 2 of them female. The victim has been under surveillance for some time and his routine habits, etc. noted. It has been found that he has a certain fondness for young ladies. A female member is to set him up for the actual test. She meets him as if by chance at a place he frequents, etc., etc. It goes through all of that. I am trying to get something very specific. Let me just go back to this previous page. Too often in the past, the true nature of satanic sacrifice was hidden even from many who profess to be Satanists. More recently, pseudo-Satanists have falsely claimed that Satanism does not and never has conducted human sacrifices. However, I repeat that human sacrifice properly conducted according to the guidelines laid down by traditional Satanist groups is a culling and thus is positive and a practical expression of satanic belief. Of course, the modern pseudo-Satanists deny this, since in their weakness they seek respectability and seek to make what they call Satanism like themselves: weak, pseudo-intellectual, ineffective, inoffensive, and addicted to fantasy role-playing. It's quite a statement to make for people committing murder, just because they feel they can. There was actually a definition of, or basically they were saying that within their definition, sacrifice is not a criminal act. Let's have a look. The act itself is one which glorifies the satanic, which affirms satanic values, blah, 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 blah. It's probably on another page. Offers are not chosen at random. They are always carefully selected, then judged and tested. The actual act, be such a ritual or a practical act such as an assassination, is never done for any personal reason. That is, it never arises out of personal emotions or from personal desires. Instead, the act of super-personal, done with a satanic judgment and a satanic detachment arising from both sinister knowledge, example of aeonics, the direct knowledge of the character or actions of the victim, etc., etc. Let's try this here. Put that in a new tab, and I'm going to open this one as well. Maybe we can get some quicker action if we've got more pages opening, who knows. You see, this is the problem with some of the pages. It's been banned by Tripod, so we can't get to all of them, unfortunately. No, it looks like this page isn't going to load either. Alright, so anyway, I think we have successfully demonstrated that the Order of Nine Angles was a group. They were started in the 60s. I'll go to a wiki page just now that explains them a bit further. You can go and have a look at that also. But they started in the 60s, really found ground within the 80s, 90s. And they included culling, sacrifice, human sacrifice within their practice, and basically state that anybody who does not do this culling is not really a Satanist, is a pseudo-Satanist, and is weak and everything else. So this is straightforward. They find somebody they consider to be dross of society. They refer to them as an opfer. They then give them tests to see if they will pass or they'll fail. If they fail, they are then sacrificed to their satanic god, and that's straightforward. It's in there. This is also, as I said, a wiki page which explains the Order of Nine Angles. attracting attention for its neo-Nazi ideology and activism. Yeah. Started in the 1960s. Nobody actually knows who the person was. He called himself Anton Long. There's some speculation. It could have been a pseudonym for the British neo-Nazi activist David Myatt, but nobody really knows. But go and have a look at that as well. Now, something else I want to mention in regards to this actually is a lot of people ask me. Sorry, I just want to go back to. Oh no, I'm going to keep. No, let me leave it because I'm going to show you something else just now. A lot of people ask me about Koetting and Michael Ford, my opinion of them. And there's a lot of things I find wrong, difficult, can't really... it's just people I will not ever suggest going to look for in regards to knowledge. Don't read their books, all of that stuff. Obviously, this is going to be my opinion, but it's up to you. But there is one specific reason why I suggest staying away from them, and it's because Order of Nine Angles. They are connected to them, they are associated with them. And we could say this is all speculation. No, they're not. Well, let's have a look. All right, so regarding Koetting first, within one specific work, it speaks quite a lot about it. It's the Works of Darkness, which was published in 2008. I think originally 2007 was the first edition. It states in there, this is about it's the bit at the end about the author, about EA Koetting. He shortly after joined with an American cell of the notorious British Order of the Nine Angles. EA shoved himself beyond morality and humanity and beyond all limitation. Okay, so straightforward. He said it in his own book. He joined an American cell of the notorious British Order of Nine Angles. That specific book also gives instructions on how to slit a victim's throat for human sacrifice. And what I found really funny was he ends the chapter by saying, "Such rites do not take place, not in this time, not by any serious black magician. Those who have never known anyone that practices blood sacrifice as a tool to power and have themselves never practiced such will state firmly that it does not exist whatsoever. Those that do practice blood sacrifice will surely say the same." So, yeah. It's just kind of like trying to avoid saying it outright. Very poetic. But anyway, how does this, before we get to Ford, how does this all affect as a general society, as a general tradition, as a group of people who are following these so-called left-hand paths? So there's probably a lot of other examples, but one specific one which happened a few years back was Daniel Hussein. And I just want to open this article, if it will open. Okay, so this is an article on Everand, and it's about this young individual, Daniel Hussein, who he sacrificed two sisters. When was this? Sorry, I'm just trying to get the year again. Well, this was written in 2021, so it must have been around that time. So it's about the convicted teenage murderer Daniel Hussein signified a contract in his blood with a demon known as Lucifuge Raphael in exchange for sacrificing only women every 6 months. Hussein would receive faithful rewards that would consist of wealth and power, winning the lottery, for instance, blah, 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 etc., etc. Where could Hussein have gotten such mad and violent ideas? Now, if you have been following Koetting for a while, you've probably seen this anyway, but just in case you haven't, you may have been watching his YouTube channel and all of a sudden he disappeared off all social media. He's back on TikTok now, because I don't think he was on that platform before, so it didn't happen there. But basically, he was banned from everywhere. He was banned from all social media, and still is. So where did Hussein have gotten such mad and violent ideas? And this is why Koetting was banned. Short answer is the internet. Building upon BBC's reporting, PA reporter Emily Pennick showed that Hussein was an active member of online forum Becoming a Living God, set up by black magician EA Koetting. According to his own writings, Koetting is part of an American cell of the British Order of Nine Angles, which we just read about. Specifically, the oddly spelled Temple of Blood, or TOB. TOB is too noxious even for other left-hand path Satanists. It is the same secretive group that took over the leadership of the neo-Nazi Atomwaffen division in 2018, following the conviction of then leader Brandon Russell. So, it goes into a bit more specifics about TOB, and their neo-Nazi affiliations and such things. So I think that's covers that one. Anyway, then let me just go back to my full screen thingy, which I think there's that one. There we go. All right. So is Ford connected? Couple of things I did find specifically. If you look at his book, The Vampire Gate, 2007. This is actually in a few of his books, not just The Vampire Gate. It's actually right at the end. There's an ad for the Book of the Witch Moon, and containing in this massive grimoire, this is what he says about the book within the rest of the blurb. Containing in this massive grimoire is also a study of the Order of Nine Angles from a Luciferian perspective, centered around their forbidden workings, including the appearance of Lilith Babylon as Baphomet, the Mistress of Blood. Alright, so connection there. And then also in Sechem Apep, the 2014 edition, there's multiple mentions of him working with the material from ONA. ONA or O9A is a abbreviation of Order of Nine Angles. And also in the About the Author section, it lists the books by Ford, which include editing, annotating, and publishing 3 works of the Order of Nine Angles, namely ONA, Collected Works, the Black Book of Satan 1, 2, and 3, and a book called Naos. All right. If you do go searching for those books now, it doesn't show that he has an affiliation, but in his own books, he has stated that. So it's easy to go check up, go find. It's in the books. Okay, so I think that kind of demonstrates my viewpoint on all of this. The basis of it is watch out what you are finding within left-hand path groups. You are often going to come up against this neo-Nazism. You may have a mention of Order of Nine Angles. You may have a mention of Thule Society, for instance. But what they'll do, they are infiltrating the groups. It has been noted by a few people, and there are some people who are trying to expose them and call them out, and make people aware of what's going on. Like, for instance, Maxine Dietrich and Joy of Satan. So just, keep an eye out for these things. And if you feel you are being led down the garden path towards neo-Nazism, start questioning, ask questions. And if one of the obvious things is if you start asking questions and the people tell you to stop asking questions, which is funny enough is what one of the things that Ford mentions in his first book, he says you shouldn't be asking questions because it shows weakness. Please. So anyway, if you ask questions and you get told you're not supposed to ask questions, that's first sign of a cult, really. But anyway, so keep an eye out. Make sure you are not being led down those paths. And like I've said, a lot of people have asked my opinion about Koetting and Ford, and I've basically just brushed it off because I don't really want to talk about this shit. It's just something I don't find comfortable. But that's the main reason why, and it's why I also will not support anybody who is publishing through Become a Living God and Koetting's, anybody who's in and remains in Koetting's camp. We all make mistakes. we kind of find ourselves up against something that we didn't realize may have been this or contained within this ideology of Nazism or whatever it may be. But when we are made aware of it, then it's our decision to leave or stay. And if we stay, that's on us. And as I said, we all make mistakes. So there are some people who have probably gone into that camp without realizing and removed themselves later. That's cool. But if they stayed in that camp, it's seriously not going to support them at all. And I would suggest not supporting them either, because they're neo-Nazis. Really simple as that. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there for today. Really don't want to talk about this crap anymore. And I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Until then, cheers for now. Bye bye.